With this backdrop in mind, where we were seeing that because of GDPR, when it was implementing, it was causing a lot of confusion and a lot of delays in setting up the clinical trials throughout Europe. And so what we did is we first went to speak with the European Commission, as you do. And one of the issues, as I remember, was that the scientific research exemptions have to rely on the safeguards under EU or member state law. And that the EU law doesn't exist, and member state laws are very vague, and only a few countries have them. So we were first with a concrete ask to help us maybe fill that void, and they told us do a code of conduct. Also with other issues like the roles of the parties and others that we will discuss. So we were obedient, and we set ourselves to start on the journey of a code of conduct in 2019, and here we are. So earlier in the morning we talked about the slow process within EDPB and in this case getting codes approved. Originally we were told it would take about a year, and here we are. But the scope was narrow on purpose. We first initially thought of, shall we do real world evidence or other things, and we said, let's just start small and then grow. So the scope was clinical trials and pharmacovigilance, and there was also a good reason for it because the Spanish already had a code. They have had it for years, even in that under Spanish legislation. Before GDPR, there were already codes in existence, and so we used their code as the first basis. They also got it approved again under GDPR by the Spanish authorities, and so we took theirs. We also were seeing that others were going for codes, so the cloud code was approved fairly early on. It also took longer than expected, but certainly a lot less than ours. And then in our space, the CRO, so this is the Clinical Research Organization, they're also doing a code, and they're about to get it approved, but they started a bit earlier than us. So that was the catalyst. And I have to say as well, for anybody that is contemplating doing a code, so while it's frustrating because we've been there for years, what has helped us as an industry is to align. So the first thing that we needed to do, harmonize ourselves and align on positions. And that has really been helpful. So whatever outcome we get out of it, that was also already a good outcome, plus also developing sort of generally good practices. In terms of first to tackle the scope, we believe, and in the code that's where we're saying that is beyond the protocol. So again, to set up a clinical trial, first you need to find the patients, then you need to do your analysis, then you submit into the regulators, but then often there's payer authorizations and other things that are associated with the clinical trial. So it's the entire sort of lifespan of putting a drug in the market that we believe is the primary use. And then in terms of the focus, I mean, just to be transparent as well, under the Spanish code, the legal basis is a legal obligation because for the reasons that Christoph just said, I mean, it's very, very regulated how you can do or not do and what data you need to collect and how long you're retaining and all these things. So we were kind of with two options, which was always consent because, it's right. In some countries such as Germany, you have to have consent. So that's always an option, but otherwise it would be legal obligation, always said, or the legitimate interest. And so in the end, we have seen that there's discrepancies among the regulators. So where we're going to go for at the moment, as it stands, is with both a legal obligation and the legitimate interest under the CTR as a union law that is providing the safeguards to that processing activity.